Play Real's form will be a test for Zidane. 400 The FC crew dive into Madrid's Shock 10 loss to Real Betis, and what Zidane can do to turn the ship around quickly. 400 Real Betis upset the odds and recorded their first victory in 20 years at the Bernabeu fairly and squarely as Real Madrid's inauspicious start to the La Liga title defense took another body blow. Tony Sanabria is the man who won't have to pay for dinner in Sevilla any time soon, with the Paraguay international scoring a stoppage time winner. Positives: Real did not play poorly and created plenty of chances. Of their 27 shots, though, only 7 were on target, and as the enormity of a third successive home game without victory dawned on Zinedine Zidane's side, desperation took hold. Gareth Bale had a decent game as he feels his way back from serious injury, but unfortunately for Real, few of his teammates followed suit. Negatives: Real's impotence against Quique Setien's masterful blueprint was epitomized by a Dani Carvajal drag back in the dying minutes that the Betis backline simply watched roll to safety. Antonio Adán made some excellent stops, but the prospect of Real running away with a win à la Barcelona against Eibar was never a serious one. Zidane's side now find themselves 7 points adrift of the leaders after 5 games. Manager rating out of 104. Would any player other than Cristiano Ronaldo warrant an automatic place in the starting lineup after a 5-game domestic suspension when Madrid had coped admirably in his absence against Real Sociedad? Zidane panicked with his substitutions, at one point eliciting the wrath of referee Antonio Machi for having 12 players on the pitch. It was a night to forget for the Real boss. Player ratings 110, with 10 the best. Players introduced after 70 minutes: get no rating. Keylor Navas, 7. The number 1 was required to make just 2 saves, the second a world-class stop from Fabian, and should remain blameless in the inevitable inquisition. DF Dani Carvajal, 6. Saved his side with a goal-line clearance early on but caused unnecessary panic later, a throw-in straight to Fabian bringing the best out of Navas. Often lacking a first touch on the front foot, Carvajal rattled the woodwork in the second half on a luckless evening. DF Sergio Ramos, 5. Clearly eager to score another overhead goal, Ramos tried one in stoppage time but could have applied similar effort to defensive duties as he stood and watched Sanabria score the winner seconds later. DF Rafael Varane, 7. The result could have been more damning still but for Varane, who covered the lines expertly when his colleagues pressed upfield. From a starting position on the halfway line, he hounded Francis Guerreiro to put the Betis Canterano off his stride. DF Marcelo, 5. The left-back left far too much room for Francis to exploit and, although he was involved in the occasional attack, looked a little off the pace before going off with what looked like a hamstring injury. MF Casemiro, 5. In a statistic indicative of Real's evening, Isco made more tackles than the Brazilian, who missed 4 as Betis ran amok in midfield. Ronaldo pouts versus Betis. 170,920 Getty Images. MF Toni Kroos, 6. Kept things ticking over as Luka Modric assumed the creative reins. Chanced his arm with a drive from distance that Zidane steered wide for a corner, but this was far from vintage Kroos. MF Luka Modric, 8. A driving run ended with a shot into the side netting. Had the Croatian buried a cracking side foot volley, goal of the season, shouts would have been fairly loud. By far Real's best player on the night, Modric delivered a collector's set of wonderful balls for his attacking line, who failed to accept the gift. MF Isco, 6. Dropping deep to look for the ball, Isco played a glorious early pass for Gareth Bale and another for Ramos. Tested Zidane with a crisp strike but failed to influence the game and was the first number up as Zidane shuffled his pack. FW Gareth Bale, 7. His best game since returning from injury. Played a cute cutback for Ronaldo and fed Casemiro at the near post a minute later. Often in the right position for searching passes from deep, Bale almost bamboozled Zidane with a flick that the Betis keeper touched onto the woodwork. He sent in several crosses that should have reaped greater profit. FW Cristiano Ronaldo, 5. Closely monitored by Zuhair Fedel and Issa Mandi, Ronaldo's best chance came in the first half with a backheel attempt reminiscent of his strike at Rayo. 2 shots on target from 12 attempts sums up his contribution, and his desperation manifested itself in a hotly argued non-existent penalty appeal just after the hour mark. Substitutes: MF Marco Asensio, 6. On for Isco on 67 minutes. Asensio lacked his customary spark and could not drag Real out of the rut as he did against Valencia. FW Lucas Vazquez, near on for Marcelo. Vazquez added energy but few ideas to the Real attack. FW Borja Merrill, near on for Modric in a double change with Vasquez. Merrill drew a fine save from Adan with his first touch in a one-on-one and another with a late header.